Kia ora no tātou ngā wana rangatira. Kua tai mai nei I runga te karanga o te ao. Tēnei tako mia kia koutou. Kia ora tātou. Tēnā koe e te wairua tapu. Te wairua o te mātua kia koutou. I o mātua te kore. Nō reira e te wairua. Aira mai. Aira mai. Tēnā koe. E te ware taonga, te ware tūturu, e tū mautonu. Ngā tupuna o te pō, I runga te ware nei moi mai te moi ngā roa, moi mai, takoto mai. Ngā koiwi. O te whenua Aotearoa e oki mai nei te rāwiki. Aira mai. Aira mai ngā tupuna ki tō whenua Aotearoa. Aira mai. Aira mai. Ngā waiwai tapu. Ngā manuiri. Kua tai mai nei I runga te karanga o te ao. Tēnei taku mia kia koutou. Tēnā koutou. Tēnā koutou ngā tuakana. Taku tuakana, taku taina. Kua tai mai. Tēnei taku mia kia koutou. Tēnā koe e te mana o te whenua nei. Tēnei whenua. Te mana. Kaore. I roto Wellington District Council, Wellington Regional Council, Wellington Harbour Board. Kaore. Te mana tūturu o te whenua nei a Taranaki Wānui. Nō reira ngā uri. A Taranaki Wānui tēnei taku mihi kia koutou. Tēnā koutou. Kia kaha I roto tō mahi e ngā kaitia ki tūturu o te whenua nei. You know, George Matthews is my name. I'm from e uri o te awa Tupua, te awa Wanganui, Ati Haunui, and I live just out on the coast north of Wanganui. And you know, just like all of you were, I was born into a shadow. The shadow of my parents. And in that shadow I was nurtured, I was fed, I was protected, and if I kissed mum at the right time, you know, I'd get a new hanky and I'd get a nice Christmas present. And we all knew how to push our parents' buttons to make things work. And then as you get older, sort of in your mid-teens, you start pushing out a bit. And you start going, you're staying with uncle and auntie and grandma and granddad, and you're overnighting and you're weekending and that sort of thing. And by your 20s, you're out of there. You step out of that shadow of mum and dad. And often you create another shadow with a partner. And in that shadow are born children. Okay? And so the shadow continues. Why I'm telling you that is because the shadow we lived in of our parents is the shadow of yesterday. The shadow that our children will live in is tomorrow. Yesterday is history. We can't return there. Tomorrow, you and I will never stand in it, for that's the world of our children. They will stand in the morrow. I'm telling you this, folks, because I honestly believe we only have today. Today to stand and do something in this world, our world. our time. So I'm pretty privileged and honoured to be in a room with 270 plus people of a like mind, prepared to do something in their time, our time, prepared to make a change, able to reflect honestly of what has happened in the past and where we might go to and the legacy we may leave for the morrow, for our children to stand. You know, I always do the sort of thing with the right intentions and then you spin off into little tangents, and I've actually lost my place on the page now. So I'll put my glasses back on. Pollution affects almost every lake, well, every river in this country, and lakes and waterways and aquifers are becoming polluted because that whole water system, starting from the heavens and even going out over the river bar into the ocean, is nothing but a cycle. So if one is over-polluted, it's going to affect the others. And pollution is a responsibility for all of us. And it will end up in the lakes, it will end up in the aquifers, but it's not the result of a single land use. Cities, farms, plantation forests all contribute to water pollution. And they're all interconnected. So if one is damaged, the others are very likely to become damaged. But it's very difficult for us to seemingly deal with things we can't see. And so we've got cities pulling water from up out of the ground so that we can turn the tap on in our bathroom, we can flush our toilet. And when we flush the toilet, we don't really care where the water comes from, and we don't really care where it goes to. That's someone else's problem. That attitude needs to be a little bit more caring, and we in this room today can start making that little change. Because I don't know what percentage of this country's cities' water supplies come from the unseen volume of water underground in those aquifers. But I ask the regional councils and the district councils whenever I get the chance, do you really hope that in 50 years' time, when Whanganui is halved in size, in 100 years' time, when it's doubled in size, that the water is still going to just keep coming out of those bores, or are we just going to keep drilling more? The regional councils have a algorithm to quantify the volume down there. It can't be very accurate, and I'm in no position to really say that, other than to say of all the regional councils in the country, they've all got a just slightly different algorithm. So I'm confidently standing here today saying I'm not too sure if they can quantify. Chucking a bit of global warming in, folks, we've got some real duties as citizens of this country. You know, it was Te Kōti Rikirangi, and some of you in the room will know Te Kōti Rikirangi as a scoundrel that escaped from the Chatham Islands, captured a boat and sailed back to the east coast of the North Island and beat up a few people that got him convicted in a court of law. But he said this: ultimately, friends and foe will gain sustenance from the same food basket. And what he was talking about was how we behave ourselves when we're walking on this place called Mother Earth. There's a thin, very fragile piece of topsoil that feeds us. She'll look after herself underneath that, but that little fragile piece of topsoil is what we can convert, is the converter for our milk, beef, mutton, wool, trees, whatever it is. It's that little bit of topsoil of Papatūānuku that we need to all just be a little bit more cognizant of. So I'm going to suggest we all just be a little more gentle as we walk through our lives on Papatūānuku, she who provides all to us. Somewhere a little sheep ate some grass, converted it to wool. It was sent probably to China and sent back to me like this. It started there. The food we're going to partake of today originally came from that very thin piece of topsoil that we need to start looking more carefully at as we stand here in our time, our space, and leave something comfortable within us for our children tomorrow. Folks, there are other things that I wanted to talk about, but I'll finish now by quoting from the old Hebrew Bible. And it's quite telling, I think. And it goes like this. When the old men cease dreaming dreams, meaning people my age, and the young people lose that vision, then the people are lost, to be blown but like straw on the wind. Let's translate that into a modern context. What are our dreams for this country of ours, Aotearoa? What is the vision we're giving our children of their homeland as they still stand in our shadows, looking out to their morrow? Do they see a clear economic and social future for themselves here at home? And if not, why not? Hard questions for us. And I'm confident in saying that the number of our relatives currently living in Australia is telling of that question. So whether your ancestors came here in an open canoe or sailed here on a three-masted brig, or came here on a Boeing 747, I don't really care. The thing is, we're here today. We're all here today. And it's our time, our period of time to actually stand up and do something. So congratulations for coming here today, sitting with like-minded people for the next 2 days and becoming empowered with their knowledge and their abilities. Ladies and gentlemen, I have the honour to introduce to you the man to be our MC, our Master of Ceremonies today, Mr. John Hudson. Amongst the career of this high-profile journalist investigations, there is one that is still in my mind, and that is of the 1980s sinking of the Rainbow Warrior in 1985 in Auckland, 37 years ago. And when you see the guy come up here, you'll think, man, he must have been young then. Our Prime Minister at the time, David Lange, said it was state-sponsored terrorism. He had to withdraw that, and it just turned into terrorism because France had just joined this great big thing called the EEC, where we were still selling a lot of produce into Britain, and France threatened to boot us out of the EEC. So we had to roll over a little bit, and it was just called terrorism after that. We were in a hard place as a country and politically, so that was that concession. And John was part of all that scenario. But however, this man was able to track down the French service team responsible for the sinking. And in 2015, and the Sunday program producer, Chris Cook, tracked down and interviewed a Colonel Jean-Luc Kister, in France that was, and he was the diver who placed the bombs on the Rainbow Warrior in the Auckland Harbour. And that story was reported right around the world.